Welcome into the In the Money podcast for KeenelandSelect.com. I'm Tom Leach, along with Jim Goodman, Keeneland's director of simulcasting. We're going to do two podcasts this weekend because it's such a big weekend of racing. So this one will focus on four of the graded stakes races at Gulfstream. The other one will focus on the big card at the fairgrounds, plus a look at the Southwest Stakes on Sunday. So we've got three Derby preps between those three tracks this weekend. And Jim, we'll get to the Derby prep at Gulfstream in just a moment, but we want to start with the eighth race, which is the Grade 2 Devona Dale, as an Oaks prep for three-year-old fillies going a flat mile. And you got a nice betting race here with a full field. How did you see the Devona Dale shaking out?
Yeah, you've got a lot of nice fillies in here, and it's just like the Derby preps. You don't know which ones are going to step up, but Dale Roman's horse, Bird at the Wire, was extremely impressive in the Forward Gal. I was in Vegas that weekend playing the HC. It's the only horse I got on the Saturday, and it was like a $40 horse. It went off at 12-1, and she came from way out of it. I mean, that race was loaded with speed. There were four horses that won the lead. There is some speed here. I'm not sure that there's that much speed. So you take a look at Ikati Spaton or Eskin for Money, and you think those fillies have a shot. But I'm still going to pick Bird at the Wire, hoping that there will be a contested battle on the lead. I think Eskin for Money is probably my second choice in here for Fletcher. A nice prep race at a mile last out. Castellano keeps the mount, and she won by 3 3/4 and probably could have won a little bit easier. And I'm going to take Last of the Mohicans, who's lost twice to Bird at the Wire, to run third. She could turn the tables with a good start. She got off to a bad start, had a little traffic trouble at Gulfstream last time out in the Forward Gal, but Bird at the Wire is beating her pretty handily both times. So Bird at the Wire is my top pick, the 4-horse for Corey Lannery and Dale Romans.
I'm going to take one you didn't mention, and that's the 6-horse Puka. I think there's a lot of different ways to go. I think this is going to be a really nice exact if you can hit it. Puka draws Rosario, which I like. Horse had a huge race last fall at Belmont, and for Bill Mott, and then went right into the Breeders' Cup and got a bad trip in the Breeders' Cup, and now coming off that layoff, but Mott obviously excels at getting him ready off a layoff, and just off the ability that horse showed in that race at Belmont. I'm going to take a little shot here because of the price mainly for the 6, Puka, and then use her with Bird at the Wire, Eskin for Money, Last of the Mohicans, and also probably Cavorting as well. But I'm going to use Puka as my key horse in the Devona Dale. Ninth race is the Mac Diarmida. That's how you pronounce that. 4-year-olds and up. And they are going 1 mile and 3/8 on the turf. You got the champ, Main Sequence, making his first start of 2015 in this race. I'm going to try to beat him with Divine Oath, who just ran a 97 Beyer in his first race off a short layoff for Fletcher. So he's got this one in top form. He's shown some nice ability before. And he's in top form. Main Sequence just starting a campaign that has much bigger goals than this, so might be vulnerable. I'm going to try to beat him with Divine Oath. Normally I wouldn't pick against Main Sequence, but if you're going to beat him, probably the first time out of the year would be the time maybe. And then I'll use an exacta Divine Oath and Twilight Eclipse just in case Main Sequence is even a more off of the game than I might think. But I'm going to try to beat the favorite with Divine Oath. How about you?
I think I remember a conversation we had before the Breeders' Cup Turf, and I kept saying Main Sequence is won by a neck, a head, and a neck. He's just lucky, but he's not lucky. He's just good. He wins like he needs to. He doesn't expend any extra energy. They run him down in the stretch. The only thing that I really don't like about Main Sequence, Rajiv Marav is having a terrible meet at Gulfstream. He's 4 for 77.
Whoa.
And, he had some injury problems early in the year, so that bothers me a little bit. Velasquez rode the horse. Rajiv was hurt, I think, for the Breeders' Cup, but he had 3 wins on him last year at Monmouth, Saratoga, and Belmont. I don't think it's going to be different. I think Grand Motion gets him ready, and the champ wins this. But Twilight Eclipse has a shot, the 6-horse, but he's run behind Main Sequence 4 straight times. So I don't know that he's good enough to beat Main Sequence. He hasn't had a race since the Breeders' Cup either. So I think Divine Oath is the horse that might have some upside, that has a nice prep race on December 27th and might be a little better form. I'm still going to take Main Sequence on top, though, the 1-horse.
Next race is the Grade 3 Canadian Turf, 4-year-olds and up on the turf at Flat Mile in this one. And for me, there's a horse in here that's kind of like Slumber that I almost got home a couple of weeks ago, and that's Jack Milton. I picked him a bunch and didn't have much of a year last year, but he likes Gulfstream. and coming off a layoff for Pletcher, and so maybe the layoff kind of reboots the computer, and we get back to the best of Jack Milton. So I think I'll get a pretty decent price to take a shot at that. So I'm going to try the 6 Jack Milton and use him with the 7 Arapeca, the 9 Mooten, and the 2 Grand Tito. How about you?
Yeah, the last two that you mentioned are the 2 top picks that I have. I think Mooten is a 10 horse, but Grand Tito is my top choice. Ran behind Miss-A-Wish the last 2 times and only got beat by neck in Fort Lauderdale. And, of course, Miss-A-Wish came back and won the Grade 1 Gulfstream Park Turf Handicap. And Grand Tito was only a length and a half out there, had lead at the top of the stretch and gave it up. But I think Grand Tito fits really well here. Mooten didn't run very well in Fort Lauderdale, but I'm going to say that he didn't get off to a good start and just didn't run. He just ran 10th and 11th the whole way, and I'm going to toss that one. Kerry McLaughlin can get a horse ready, and I think that Mooten gets another shot here. The other horse that I liked was Mr. Online, the 3, and if you look back at his February and March of 2014, he ran 3 straight 99 buyers at Gulfstream at a mile, including this race, and only lost it by neck last year. So I think he's coming into the race in good shape and loves Gulfstream. He's 5 for 8 in the money at Gulfstream. So Mr. Online is my other shot, but Grand Tito, the 2, is my choice on top.
Let's go to the 11th race. It's the Grade 1 Bessalou Stables Fountain of Youth for 3-year-olds, going a mile and a 16th. And you got big favorite here, likely, an Upstart. Can you beat him?
Well, it looks like it's Upstart and Frosted, and I think Frosted got beat by 5.5 by Upstart and Holy Bull. Had a bad start and kind of was up against it the whole way, and Upstart looked incredible. If he runs back to that, he's going to be top 3 for the Derby and the favorite for the Florida Derby as well. I'm going to say here that it's a 2-horse race. There's a horse on the outside that I think might have a shot. I don't know why they're putting the horse in here unless he did have a shot. Danny Boy, Jerry Crawford and Donegal Racing really liked him last year, and they took him out. They put him on the turf. He almost won the Bourbon here at Keeneland. They ran him in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile turf, and he was way out of it, closed, only got beat 3 lengths by Hootenanny. He was a pretty nice horse. And they're putting him on the dirt and trying to get him in the Derby trail. And pretty much Donegal Racing makes some really good decisions. Just look at Finnegan's Wake a couple weeks ago. So I'm going to take Danny Boyd a shot to get in the money. I don't think he can beat Upstart, but Upstart may throw in a clunker. He may bounce a little bit. Richard Violet's been talking about that possibility because the Holy Bull was such a great race for him. He went from a 92 to 106. Upstart and Frosted look like 1-2 here, but Danny Boyd might have a shot at the price.
I went with Upstart just because of that dazzling 3-year-old debut, and he's worked well in a couple of works he's had since then. And it is the second off the layoff, and that's a really good angle for Rick Violet. Got to use Frosted with him. Of course, that exacta will pay next to nothing. There's a horse, Gorgeous Bird, that intrigues me a little bit. Just some of the workout reports look really nice on this one for Mary Lou Whitney. And then there's a Nick Zito horse from Minto that I think's better than it looks on paper recently, and I was impressed with his race here at Keeneland in the fall. And Zito horses can throw in a big one sometimes when at a big price. So I would look at maybe those 2 horses for possible exacta use, but I'm going to go Upstart is the one for me in the Grade 1 Bessalou Stables Fountain of Youth. Now, remember that we are going to be doing a separate podcast on the big Saturday card at the Fairgrounds, headlined by the Risen Star, and we'll also include the Sunday running of the Southwest Stakes from Oaklawn there. And simulcasting been shut down, Jim, because of the weather issues, but should be back up and running on Saturday, right?
Yes, we're closed on Friday, so we're not having our Friday night handicapping contest this week, but we should be up and running by Saturday. The weather should improve. We've had to shut down for the cold weather. We were worried about pipes freezing here, so we had to shut down the grandstand here at Keeneland. But you can always bet Keeneland Select it's never closed.
There you go. That's good advice, and this was the weather where pipes and anything else was liable to freeze. But hopefully warmer days are ahead, and springtime at Keeneland's just around the corner. So, again, check out the podcast that we'll do for the Fairgrounds as well. And for Jim Goodman, I'm Tom Leach. It's the In the Money podcast for KeenelandSelect.com.